Hello, how are you? I would like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. The company compensates us for the defects. The company compensates the customers for its defects. The company compensates us for the defects of the products. The company compensates us for the product's defects. The company compensates the customers for the product defects for 2 years after the purchase. The company compensates the customers for the product defect for 2 years after the purchase. The company compensates the customers for its defects of the products. When I buy goods from online, I sometimes get products with defects. I sometimes get products with defects. Have you got goods with defects? When you buy, have you ever got goods with defects? The company compensates us for product defect. The company compensates the customers for its product's defects. The company compensates the customers for its defects of the products. The company compensates the customers for product defect. The company compensates the customers for its product defects. If you don't have the receipt, you are not be compensated for it. With the receipt, you can be compensated for the product defect. With the receipt, you can be compensated for it. The company compensates the customers for its product's defects. The company compensates the customers for its defects. You should compensate me for the delay. The airlines compensate the passengers for the delay. The airline company compensated the passengers for its super delay. The airline company compensated the passengers for delay. The airline company compensated the customers of the delay. The airline company compensated the passengers for its delay. The airline company compensated the passengers for its delay. The company compensates its customers for defects of the products. The company compensates the customers for the product defects. The company compensates the customers for its defects of the products. The company compensates the customers for its product defects. The company compensates its customers for its product defects. The company compensates its customers for the defects of the products. He spent no less than $2 million on gambling. She bet no more than 1 million yen on the gambling. She bet no more than 1 million yen on single number in the roulette. There were not less than 500 customers in the shopping mall. There were not less than 20,000 visitors in the performance. I got no more than 5,000 yen for the job. I got not more than 5,000 yen for the job. She ate no more than 5 sets of the menu. She asked for refill no more than 5 times. She asked for the refill of the menu no more than 5 times. No less than 5 times. She asked for the refill of the menu no less than 5 times. He asked for the refill of the rice, a bowl of rice, no less than 5 times because refill of the rice is free. My friend asked for the refill of a bowl of rice no less than 3 times. The bad news made me disgusting. The bad news made me feel disgusting. The bad news made me feel disgusted. I think the eating way of ramen might be disgusting for some foreigners. Maybe the Japanese way of eating ramen might be disgusting for some overseas tourists because we eat ramen loud. We suck the noodles loud. Maybe the Japanese way of eating ramen might be disgusting for some overseas tourists. Eating raw fish might be disgusting for some people, for those who don't eat raw fish. Eating sushi or sashimi might be disgusting for some people living in some countries where they don't eat raw fish. I strained my leg while I was training my squat. While I was doing my squat. I strained my leg while I was doing squat. I strained my arm while I was doing push-ups. I strained my leg while I was doing squat. I strained my arms while I was doing push-ups. How many push-ups can you do? 50, 100, 150, 200? I strained my arms while I was doing push-ups. I strained my legs while I was doing exercise. I strained my legs while I was doing exercise. I strained my hands while I was cleaning. 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 I strained my legs while I was doing squat. I strained my arms while I was doing push-ups. How many push-ups can you do? I straightened my legs while I was doing squat. I straightened my arms while I was doing push-ups. I straightened my arms while I was doing push-ups. I bent over so that the people behind me can see the performance. I bent over so that the viewers behind me can see the performance well. I bent over to look into the machine more in detail. Some kids are bending over to search for money under the vending machine. Some kids were bending down to search for coins under the vending machine. The foreign dignitaries bent over to shake hands with the emperor. The foreign dignitaries, the foreign dignitary bent down to match the height of the emperor and shake hands with him. The foreign dignitary bent down to match the same height of the emperor and shook hands with him. The foreign dignitary bent down to be lower than the height of the emperor and shook hands with him. I bent down so that the viewers behind me can see the performance well. Could you bend over a little bit more? I bent over to reach the garbage in narrow space. I bent down to reach the garbage in narrow space. I bent down to shake hands with the kids. I bent down to look at the cat more closely. I bent down to see the cat more closely. I bent over to see the cat more closely. I bent over to clean the floor, to wipe the floor. I bent down to wipe the floor. I bent down to wipe the floor. My body is very stiff, so I need to stretch regularly so that my bodies become more soft. I have a very stiff body, so I need to stretch regularly to make my body more softer. To make my body softer. Do you also have a stiff body? Do you often have a stiff shoulder? Do you often have stiff shoulders? How often do you 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 have stiff shoulders? Stiff shoulders. Stiff shoulders. Stiff 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 shoulders. Stiff shoulders. Stiff shoulders. Stiff shoulders. How often do you have stiff shoulders? Do you have stiff shoulders? Are you having stiff shoulders? Are you having stiff shoulders? Are you having stiff shoulders now? I can massage your shoulders. Thank you. This medicine might help your stiff shoulders. These pills might alleviate your stiff shoulders. This medicine might alleviate your stiff shoulders. This medicine might relieve your stiff shoulders. Stiff. Do you have stiff shoulders? Do you have stiff shoulders? How often do you have stiff shoulders? How often do you have stiff shoulders? The breakthrough in the semiconductor made it possible to express every color. The breakthrough in the semiconductor made it possible to express every color. The breakthrough of the medicine made it possible to cure the disease. Medical breakthrough made it possible to cure the disease, to treat the disease. The technological breakthrough might make it possible to fly like a bird. The technological breakthrough in the future may make it possible to fly like a bird. The medical breakthroughs in the future might cure all diseases, and we might be able to live forever. I hope the medical breakthroughs in the future will cure every disease ever, and everyone can become healthy. I hope the medical breakthroughs in the future will treat every disease, even the diseases which current medical techniques cannot treat. I hope the medical breakthroughs in the future treat every disease, including cancer or something other diseases which are very difficult to treat. What do you think of cloning? What do you think of clone? What do you think of clone? Are you agree with the cloning? Are you agree with applying cloning to vegetables or food to make better or best food or plants? I agree with applying clone to vegetables which are very strong at insects or some other enemies. I would like to apply my hobbies to my jobs. I would like to apply my hobbies to my jobs. Can I apply my hobbies to my job? Are there some jobs which I can apply my hobbies to? Are there some jobs that which I can apply my hobbies to? I think there are some jobs that I can apply my hobbies to. The company applies my technology to the production. The company applies my ideas to the production. The company applies my idea to the production of the products. Can I apply my hobbies to the jobs? Can I apply my hobbies to the job? I hope I can apply my hobbies to my future jobs. The company applies my ideas into the production. The company applied the idea of Tokugawa Ieyasu into the policy of the company. The company applied the way of thinking of Tokugawa Ieyasu, the first shogunate of the Tokugawa shogunate, to the policy of the company. I apply Bushido to my lifetime. I apply Bushido, literally meaning way of the Bushi, which is a kind of cord followed by samurai, to my policy. Computer scored test is applied to many examinations. Computer scored test is applied to many examinations. The system is applied to many examinations. The system is applied to many examinations. CBT is applied to many examinations because you can take examinations online from many places which are set even in countryside. CBT system is applied to many examinations. What do you think of clone? Cattle. It's generic term. Cattle are generic term for cows and birds. Cattle are generic term. Cattle are generic term for cows and birds. The milk got from the cattle is very fresh. The cattle are breeded in this farm. Cattle breeded in this farm listen to classical music every day. The cattle breeded in this farm listen to classical music every day. The cattle breeded in this farm listen to classical music every day. The cattle breeded in this farm listen to classic music every day. The cattle breeded in this farm listen to classic music every day. I don't like alcoholic beverages, let alone beer. I don't like alcoholic beverages, let alone beer. I don't like alcoholic beverages, let alone whiskey. I don't know Italian, let alone writing it. I don't speak foreign languages, let alone English. I easy to get motion sick on the bus, let alone ferry. I easy to get motion sick on bus, let alone ferry. I don't like fermented food, let alone natto. I don't like fermented food, fermented products, let alone natto. I don't like fermented products, let alone natto. Fermented soybeans. Her performance beyond the reach of my expectation. The service was beyond the reach of my expectation. The service at the hotel was beyond the reach of my expectation. So I was so pleased with the service. The service at the hotel was beyond the reach of my expectation. His technique at the playing the piano is beyond the reach of my skill. His playing the piano is beyond the reach of my level. Her performance was beyond the reach of my expectation. The answer was much more beyond the reach of my prediction. The answer was beyond the reach of my prediction. The resolution was beyond the reach of my prediction. The amount of money donated to the city hall was beyond the reach of my prediction. The amount of money which was donated to the city hall was beyond the reach of my imagination. The amount of money which was donated to the city hall was out of the reach of my imagination. Those who like to boast something will be disliked. Some people like to boast their wealth. Some people like to boast their wealth. I think those who like to boast their wealth is not necessarily a rich. I think those boasting their wealth are not rich at all. The real rich people will not boast their wealth. I think those boasting their wealth are not rich enough, or they might be poor instead. I think people boasting their wealth are not rich. I think they are poor. On educational grounds, he chose to live in a countryside with his son. In economical grounds, I skipped going abroad this year. On pandemic grounds, I didn't go travel at all this year. On epidemic grounds, I didn't go travel this year. On epidemic grounds, I didn't go traveling this year. On epidemic grounds, I didn't go travel this year. On epidemic grounds, I will not go traveling this year. On epidemic grounds, I will not go take a trip to the country this year. On pandemic grounds, I refrained from going abroad this year. On pandemic grounds, I refrained from going abroad this year. On pandemic grounds, I didn't go traveling this year. On educational grounds, I studied a lot. On educational grounds, drastic reforms will be needed in the schools. On educational grounds, drastic reforms in English must be made. On educational grounds, drastic reforms must be made in English study. On educational grounds, drastic reforms must be made in English study. On educational grounds, drastic reforms must be made, have to be made in English education. On epidemic grounds, I didn't go traveling this year at all. On epidemic grounds, I didn't go traveling this year. On epidemic grounds, I didn't go traveling this year. On epidemic grounds, I didn't go traveling this year. On epidemic grounds, many people refrained from going traveling this year. On epidemic grounds, many people refrained from traveling. On epidemic grounds, many people refrained from traveling. On epidemic grounds, many people wear masks and decontaminated their hands when entering a shop. On epidemic grounds, many people wear masks and wash and decontaminate their hands before entering a shop. On epidemic grounds, many people wear masks and keep social distance with 2 meters and decontaminate their wash before entering a house and take their temperature at the entrance. The procedure is very complex, so I think little people will apply for it. The procedure is very complex, so it will confuse elderly people. How to use a smartphone might be complex for elderly people. Using a smartphone might be complex for elderly people. The way of applying for the job is very complex. The train map of Tokyo Metro is very complex. The train map in Tokyo is very complex, intricate, complicated. The train map of Tokyo is very complex. The train's map in Tokyo. The train's map of Tokyo is very complex. The train's map in Tokyo is very complex. Are you in good spirits today? I was in sad spirits last night. Why were you in sad spirits last night? Why were you in sad spirits last night? Are you in good spirits today? Are you in good mood today? Are you in good spirits today? Are you in good spirits today? Why were you sad spirits in? Why were you in sad spirits last night? Yesterday. Are you in good spirits? Are you in sad spirits today? Why 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 are you in sad spirits today? I'm not in sad spirits today. I'm not in sad spirits. I'm rather in good spirits. If anything, I'm in good spirits today. I'm in good spirits today. I'm in crazy spirits. When she is drunk, she will be in crazy spirits. When she is drunk, she will be in crazy spirits. When she is drunk, she will be in crazy spirits. When he is drunk, he will be in good spirits. When he is drunk, he will be in good spirits. I'm in good spirits today. I'm in good spirits today. I'm in good spirits today. After exercising, I will be in good spirits. After exercising, I will be in good spirits. After exercising, I will be in good spirits. Can I have a hamburger, please? That's it. Can I have a piece of hamburger and milkshake with strawberry taste, please? That's all. That's it. Can I have a piece of hamburger and a piece of milkshake with vanilla taste? That's it. Anything else? No, that's it. I would like to buy a rug with decorative design. I'm searching for a cute rug. Do you know good shops for that? I'm searching for a rug with cute designs and patterns. Where can I find it? I'm searching for a rug with cute patterns. I'm looking 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 for a rug with cute patterns. How about this rug? It is really in this year. Smartphone is really in recently. In recent years. Social networking service is rarely in recently. Social networking service such as Instagram, TikTok, YouTube are very in. Social networking service is very in. Social networking service is really in. SNS is really in. SNS is really in recently. SNS is very in. I think many people cannot live without SNS. They want to be connected to someone always. social networking service is in. You don't have to be in haste when you drive a car. You shouldn't be in haste when you drive a car. You shouldn't be in haste when you drive a car. You shouldn't be in haste when you drive a car. I was in haste, so I don't have time to greet you. Sorry. I was in haste in the morning, so I didn't have time to talk with you. Sorry. Some people are always in haste in the morning. Many people are always in haste in the morning. Many people are always in haste in the morning because they sleep long, because they sleep up to limited time. Why are you in haste? Why are you in haste? Are there things you have to do? Are there things to be done by today? Are there things you have to do by today? Why are you in haste? In haste. 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 Are you in haste? I was in haste in the morning. I was in haste in the morning. I was in haste when we met then, so I don't talk to you. I was such a haste. In such haste. I was in such haste, so I do not have time to talk with you. I was in such a haste. I was in such haste, so I do not have time to talk with you. Some people say, keep the change, when they get out of the taxi. The passenger of taxi sometimes say, keep the change, to the driver of the taxi. Some passengers of the taxi will not get the change from the driver, and they say, keep the change, to the driver. Some passengers of the taxi will not get the change, saying, keep the change. Some taxi passengers don't get the change from the driver, saying, keep the change. Some taxi passengers do not get the change from the driver, saying, keep the change. Some taxi passengers do not get the change from the driver, saying, keep the change. 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 Some taxi passengers do not get the change if there are changes, saying, keep the change. Some taxi passengers do not get the change from the driver, saying, keep the change. Keep the change. Keep the change. Okay, it's on me. You don't have to pay this time, because every time we go out you pay. So this time it's on me. Whenever we go to restaurants, my parents pay. It's always on my parents. It's always on my parents. Whenever we go to restaurants, My parents pay. It's always on my parents. Okay, this time it's on me because whenever we go to restaurants, you pay for me. So this time it's on me. The dignitaries, the foreign dignitaries were treated to sushi. 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 If you succeed in entering the university, I will treat you sushi. If you pass the entrance examination of the university, I will treat you sushi. I was treated to cake on my birthday. What do you want to be treated to on your birthday? What do you want to be treated to on your birthday? I want to be treated to steak. If you finish the task by 5 o'clock p.m., I will treat you sushi today. Okay, we ordered many things at random, so let's split the check. Okay, we ordered many menus at random, so let's split the check. Let's split the check, 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 split the check. Let's split the check. Let's go Dutch. How about splitting the check? We ordered many menus at random, so let's split the check. High school students usually split the check at restaurants. High school students usually split the check at restaurants. Split the check. High school students usually 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 split the check. Split the check. I used to split the check with my friends, but now either me or my friend pay. I used to split the check at restaurants whenever I go to restaurants with my friends, but today those who lost at the rock scissors paper game pay. I used to go Dutch at restaurants with my friends, but today the one who lost the rock scissors paper game pay. Split the check. Split the check. Split the check. I'm short of knowledge. I'm short of the experience, so I need to earn more experience and to be good at it, adept at it. We are short of time, so we have to do my best in a limited time. We are short of time, so let's take advantage of the limited time and make our best. Let's do our best. We are short of time, so let's appreciate the time we are sharing now, and let's do our best. We are short of time, so we cannot cover all of the sightseeing spots. So how about visiting Kinkakuji Temple today? We are short of money this year, so we cannot go a company picnic. We cannot have a company picnic. Some people like it. Are you short of the knowledge? When I'm short of cash, I pay on credit card. Because I was short of cash, so I paid the book on credit card. Don't rob me of my precious time. Don't let other people rob you of your precious time. Don't let other people rob you of your precious time, okay? I was robbed of my precious time. I was robbed of my precious time while waiting in the line in front of the attraction. I was robbed of my precious time in front of the shop by waiting for a long time, more than 30 minutes. I was robbed of my precious time at the train station because the train was delayed. I was robbed of my precious time by waiting in at the bus stop because the bus was delayed. I was deprived of my precious time at the bus stop because the bus was delayed. Do not deprive me of my precious time. Do not deprive of me of my precious time. The masked man robbed me of my 100 yen. The hooligans robbed the shop of sushi. The hooligans robbed the store of toy. The hooligans robbed the shop of toys. The kids robbed the supermarket of toys. The kids robbed the supermarket of toys. The thief robbed the bank of money. The thief robbed the bank of money. The thief robbed the kids of their toys, of his toys. The father robbed the kids of his toy. My father robbed me of my PlayStation 5. My father robbed me of my PlayStation 5. My mother robbed me of my toy. The mother robbed the child of his toy. The mother robbed the child of her child. The mother robbed her child of her toy. The old lady was robbed of her wallet. The old lady was robbed of her purse. The old lady was robbed of her bank account. The old lady was robbed of her handbag while walking on the road. The old lady was robbed of her wallet. The old lady was robbed of her handbag while walking on the walkway. The thief robbed the old lady of money. The thief robbed the old lady of the shoulder bag, handbag. The thief robbed the old lady of her handbag. The thief robbed the old lady of her handbag. The thief robbed the bank of money. The thief robbed the bank of money. The thief robbed the old lady of money. The thief robbed the old lady of handbag. The thief robbed the old lady of her handbag. As the proverb goes, you can see the Yomebon gate until the sun goes down. So the gate has the nickname of Twilight Gate. Until the proverb goes, never say kekko, wonderful, until you see nikko. As the proverb goes, never say kekko, wonderful, until you see nikko. As the proverb goes, never say kekko, meaning wonderful, until you see nikko. As the proverb goes, ichigo ichie. Proverb. Proverb. As the proverb says. As the proverb says. As the proverb goes. 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 Proverb goes. As the 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 proverb goes, never say kekko, wonderful, until you see nikko. As the proverb goes. As the proverb goes, never say kekko, wonderful, until you see nikko. I have stood on my own 2 feet since I was 22 years old. I have stood on my own 2 feet since I was 22 years old. I have been independent of my parents since when I was 22 years old after graduating from university. I have to stand on my own 2 feet. When I used to live in an apartment on my own, I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I have to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. When I used to live in an apartment alone, I had to do everything on my own. I had to do everything on my own. I had to do everything on my own. When I used to live in an apartment alone, I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I have stood on my own 2 feet. I have stood on my own 2 feet since when I was 18 years old. Some people start to stand on their own 2 feet when they become 11 years old. Some people stand on their own 2 feet at the age of 18 years old. Some people stand on their own 2 feet at the age of 18 years old after graduating from high school. Some people stand on their own 2 feet at the age of 22 years old after graduating from university. Some Japanese people stand on their own 2 feet after graduating from university at the age of 22 years old. Some Japanese people stand on their own 2 feet after graduating from university at the age of 22 years old. Some people stand on their own 2 feet after graduating from university at the age of 22 or 24 years old. Some people stand on their own feet. Some people stand on their own feet. Some people stand on their own feet. I have stood on my own feet. I have stood on my own feet, 2 feet. I have stood on my own 2 feet. I have stood on my own feet. I have stood on my own 2 feet. I have stood on my own 2 feet since when I was 24 years old after graduating from university. I have stood on my own 2 feet. I have stood on my own 2 feet. I have stood on my own 2 feet. When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? I stood on my own 2 feet when I was 26 years old. When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? I stood on my own 2 feet when I was 22 years old. When did you stand on your own feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? When did you stand on your own 2 feet? I stood on my own 2 feet. I stood on my own 2 feet when I was 22 years old. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.